This weekend, in one show only, the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra pays tribute to the Queen of Soul. Respect, the music of Aretha Franklin happens on Sunday, March 15th, and features a tour de force of local talent, including vocalist Heitha Forsyth, who's joined me in studio this morning. Hey, Heitha, welcome back to Classic 107.
Hi, good morning. Nice to be here, Simon.
It's been a little while. I want to jump right into it. The Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. How are you feeling about this show?
Well, on the one hand, I feel absolutely so stoked, so excited. I know I've been listening to Aretha for a long time and trying to sound like her. And on the other hand, I feel a lot of pressure because I've been listening to Aretha for a long time.
I think that's totally fair, and I think you just summed it up beautifully there. Like, as a vocalist, I was going to say, there's no way she hasn't had an influence on you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way. I mean, I sing soul music. I've sung hours and hours of soul music, and many of those hours have been singing Aretha. You can't be in a soul band and not sing Aretha.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say. You've got the chops to do it. Between your work with Retro Rhythm Review and your alter ego, your blues roots, soulful self as Soul James, you've really done it already, right? But is it daunting at all to keep returning to these pieces of music that she herself performed, or does it get more exciting each time?
It's a combination of both. Luckily, I take it as a great challenge. It's something that I want to rise to, and I try not to let my negative self-talk get in there too much because I love to push myself, and I love to sing, and I think that's something that is genuinely something that was a part of Aretha too. So I feel like I get nervous, and it really depends. This weekend is going to be a big one because we're working with the big band. It's a huge horn section. There's going to be hopefully a lot of folks there, and it's in a venue that's pretty neat, the Human Rights Museum, the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. So, this one's a big one.
Yeah. And speaking of past performances, you performed with the WJO show before. I'm thinking of that Duke Ellington show a while back.
Yeah.
How did this show come together?
Well, it's funny, like the music community in Winnipeg is quite small, and my friend Gilles Fournier, who's playing bass with the concert this weekend, and Ego Spank, so he and the guys from Ego Spank, they really wanted to pay tribute to Aretha right after her death, and so we played our first show at the Times Changed High and Lonesome Club, and then we did another show. They did Ego Spank's Presents at the West End Cultural Center, and we did Aretha music, and it was just really popular. People really loved it, and we realized that we put a lot of work into learning the tunes and getting up on all of this stuff, and B, people wanted it. So I guess Gilles approached Richard Gillis, and that turned into, let's put it into the season for the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra. So lucky me, I didn't have anything to do with that. I just did a good job singing the other shows.
Yeah, props. Well done. That's the way to do it. But I mean, so Aretha died in 2018. Mm-hmm. There were those tribute shows, as you mentioned. I did a quick Google search. Aretha Franklin, of course, prolific in her recording, 38 studio albums, 6 live albums, and 45 compilations. Where do you start when choosing the music? I mean, you mentioned how much time you spent just getting up on things.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
Well, honestly, Gilles was just like, hey, ladies, why don't you each pick 5 songs? And so luckily we didn't have a lot of fighting because there was such a vast majority of music, or vast array of music to choose from. And the neat thing is that we all of us singers have music of Aretha that really had an effect on us personally. So we were able to kind of each choose songs. And so what I chose had some more of the jazz there was more of a jazz ballad, the blues stuff. Andrina chose stuff from more of her B-side, stuff that we wouldn't normally know, but it's still really awesome. So it was really great because she has such a large base of music, we were able to really choose. But it was hard. I mean, there was a lot. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. It's overwhelming.
There's just so much music. There's so much great music. And again, audiences are going to be treated to the hits, but also some of those deeper cuts, which isn't something you get to hear. Again, you're going to be sharing vocal duties. You mentioned with Andrina Turenne, who I think just released a debut single.
She did,
and of Chikamine, and then also with Jennifer Hanson, who was just in studio with Gilles Fournier just like a month ago.
Yeah.
So some great talent up on the stage. One of the things I'm curious about, so you mentioned you're sharing these vocal duties, each picking 5 songs. When you're not performing, do you go to like backup singer duties? Because of course the backup singer is such a big part of soul of Aretha's sound.
That's probably actually what is probably the most intimidating is that the backup singer parts for Aretha Franklin arrangements are if not as difficult, if not more difficult. They're like their own piece, and like it's really neat to be a part of it, and it takes a lot more work in order to be proficient at both, and it's a different kind of use of singing to sing backup as opposed to leads. So yeah, the backups have been kind of the bane of our existence because they're not easy, and we've had to work through them. But luckily, these are killer singers, so it even though they're not easy, probably other singers are like, oh, you jerks. but yeah, so we're pretty lucky. I mean, I couldn't ask for better cohorts on this when it comes to vocal ability and backup vocal ability. It's awesome.
Yeah, just again, the talent on the stage is what I keep coming back to because it is very, very thrilling. This is going to sound lame, but like the backup singers, the unsung heroes, no pun intended, but like really such challenging music as you mentioned, but they add so much to the sound.
Yes, and it's really influenced myself, my artistry and my writing and how I approach writing songs and how I hear music. That style of backup singing that she had, it's I think it comes from a gospel background and it infiltrated into the pop music at the time and really moved from there. And so I've always been a fan of backup vocals, and I've always been kind of really, when I get asked to sing backup vocals, I get really excited because it's a way to be a part of something. When you sing leads on a song and it goes to solos or it goes to other parts of the music, I mean, not that I have to be the center of attention all the time, but I want to be a part of the piece, the puzzle. And I know that singing leads is a big piece of that puzzle, but singing backups is being part of it in a different way, and I love that because you can be kind of limited unless you play an instrument, right?
Yeah. Part of the musical fabric that just kind of all comes together.
You got it.
So there's, of course, Ego Spank. We mentioned Gilles Fournier, but in terms of the rest of the band, Murray Pulver and Mark Arnold and Daniel Roy. And so it's just a stellar group of players. And then add the WJO to that. This has to be like riding a musical wave for you.
Yeah. I mean, we had rehearsal yesterday, and of course, we've done this show before, and we haven't had horns at all. And now we have a full train. It's like singing in front of a freight train with this big, beefy horn section. I'm so stoked, and especially for me, I'm doing songs like "Never Loved a Man the Way That I Loved You." That's a blues piece, and the way it sounds with horns kicking in. There are horns on the original recording, but we have an arrangement done for a big band, and it's like singing in front of them is really fun. It just kicks in a new level of energy. So.
Oh, it sounds like it is going to be an absolutely amazing show. Thanks for being here, Heitha.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Come back sometime.
Shall do.
Yeah, it's always great having you here.
Early morning.
Yeah, the old early morning. No, it's not bad at all. Respect the music of Aretha Franklin with the WJO, Ego Spank, and vocalists Jennifer Hanson, Andrina Turenne, and Heitha Forsyth, who joined me in studio this morning. Again, thanks for being here. I've got a little track queued up. I didn't know this was what it was going to be, but I Never Loved a Man is what I have queued up. Do you want to set this one up? This is the original one we're hearing?
Sure. Well, I know that Aretha recorded this in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and it was a neat thing because her backing band and the horns are all white men. And so it was kind of unusual, especially coming from this era of when this was recorded. Muscle Shoals, Alabama, this little nowhere place, was putting out great records. Wilson Pickett would record there, and a lot of other great soul artists, and Aretha got her foot in there, and this is one of the results of that.
Here it is, Aretha Franklin on Winnipeg's Classic 107.